patrol car had pulled up near the store. Two young officers stepped out. New to the force, unfamiliar faces, they saw a large German shepherd barking loudly, standing protectively in front of a little girl who had accidentally dropped her bag of candy. Shadow thought she was in danger. His instincts kicked in, and he started barking ferociously. Not attacking, just warning. But the officers didn't know that one reached for his weapon, and before anyone could shout or explain, a loud shot cracked through the air. Lily screamed. People froze. Shadow collapsed to the ground. Lily dropped beside him sobbing. Her hands stained red as she tried to wake him. The crowd slowly gathered. Someone yelled, "Why did you shoot?" He wasn't attacking, but it was too late. Shadow lay still, eyes closed, a final breath escaping his chest when Daniel heard the news. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. He just stood there unmoving, as if something deep inside him had snapped back into place, something he had buried long ago, and the officers had no idea what they had just unleashed. For years, Daniel had kept a quiet profile. Most folks in town only knew him as the single father who ran the auto repair shop on Main Street. He was soft-spoken, polite, and always kind to kids and animals. No one would have guessed the life he'd lived before, settling down in their peaceful corner of the world. But behind those calm eyes was a man who had seen things few others ever had. Daniel wasn't just any former soldier. He was once part of an elite unit, so secretive most people didn't even know it existed. Delta Force. He wasn't just trained, he was lethal, precise, and capable of things the average person could never comprehend. He had walked away from it all after his wife died. Lily was just a baby. Then he left the battlefield to give her a normal life, one free from violence and danger. Shadow was part of that new life. He trained Shadow himself, not just as a pet, but as a protector. Shadow had once been a military dog, too, rescued and rehabilitated under Daniel's care. The morning after Shadow's death, Daniel didn't show up at the police station yelling. He didn't storm the mayor's office or post angry rants online. Instead, he went quiet, too quiet. He picked up Lily from her aunt's house, kissed her forehead, and told her everything would be all right. She didn't believe him. Her red tear-streaked face said it all, but Daniel's voice had that deep, steady calm that always made her feel safe, even now. Later that night, while the town slept, Daniel opened a steel footlocker hidden beneath the floorboards of his garage. Inside were memories of a life he had tried to forget, old medals, photos, maps, and encrypted flash drives. He powered up an old military laptop and started searching. He wasn't just looking for justice. He was gathering intel through secure channels and encrypted forms only known to his old brothers in arms. Daniel discovered something chilling. The cops who shot Shadow weren't just acting recklessly. They were linked to a growing ring of corrupt officers, trafficking illegal weapons and using K-9 alerts as a cover to seize property. Shadow hadn't attacked out of confusion. He had sensed the threat. Before anyone else over the next few days, Daniel observed everything: where the officers went, who they met, what time they clocked in and out. His military training kicked in with precision. Every movement was calculated, every detail logged to outsiders. He was just grieving. But to those who knew better, Daniel was preparing for war, and the storm was coming. The night air was still, but tension hummed beneath its silence. Daniel moved like a shadow dressed in plain black. No insignias, no noise, just purpose. He wasn't out for revenge. He was out for the truth and for justice. No courtroom in town could deliver. His first stop was an abandoned warehouse near the docks. That's where he traced the corrupted officers meeting. After hours, he watched from a rooftop, memorizing routines at 2:13 a.m. A van pulled up. Two officers exited, carrying crates. They clearly didn't want anyone seeing. Daniel snapped pictures clear enough to be evidence, damning enough to bury careers. But it wasn't just photos. Daniel left with. He infiltrated their server later that week, using tools most people wouldn't even recognize. Within minutes, he found logs, names, locations, payoffs, everything the officers who shot Shadow. They were scheduled to meet the next night at a private residence under the guise of a training debrief. That was all he needed. The following evening, Daniel didn't go in with weapons drawn. He simply walked up to the front door, calm and unreadable. When they opened the door, their smirks dropped. "Hello, officers," Daniel said, his voice like steel. "We need to talk." They laughed until Daniel laid a file on the table, inside photos, bank records, audio clips of their own conversations. "You messed with the wrong man," he said, standing tall. "And worse, you killed the wrong dog." Before they could react, federal agents, Daniel's old contacts, stormed in. The sting had been real. Every word Daniel spoke was recorded within minutes. The room was filled with shouting, handcuffs, and chaos. Justice had arrived, and Daniel was just watched silently, like a ghost from the past, delivering a reckoning. None of them ever saw coming news of the arrest spread. Like wildfire, corrupt officers exposed an undercover sting. The headlines read, but few people knew the man behind it. Daniel kept his name out of it, slipping back into the shadows like he was never there. He didn't need recognition. He didn't want medals. He only wanted his daughter to feel safe again, and his dog's sacrifice to mean something. Emily watched the news reports, tears in her eyes, not from sadness, but from something deeper. Pride. Her father never raised his voice. He never boasted, but she now understood the weight he carried in the depth of his silence. He had done the impossible for her. For Shadow, the town began to change after that officers who had stayed silent were forced out. New leadership came and reforms were introduced. Many whispered about the mysterious man who had done what no one else could at home. Daniel placed a frame photo of Shadow on the mantel. "You were more than just a dog," he whispered. "You were family. You were loyal to the very end." One evening, Daniel came home with a surprise, a young German shepherd pup, eyes wide with innocence, tail wagging nervously. "He's not a replacement," Daniel said softly, "but maybe a new beginning." Emily knelt beside the pup, her hand trembling as she reached out. The puppy licked her fingers and nestled into her lap. Tears welled up in her eyes, but this time they carried hope. "Let's call him Echo," she whispered, "so Shadow's spirit always echoes through him." From that day on, Echo became part of the family, and though Shadow could never be replaced, if this story inspired you, give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories every day.